All right, Jerry Mason, Kickin lawyer. We're here for another Law Talk. Thank you guys for always taking time out of your day to join us. If you haven't, please like, follow, subscribe to the podcast. We're on all podcast platforms, social media platforms, the TikToks, all those good things. So please check us out. If you're trying to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate in the area, Michelle Allen is your go-to. She's happy to help you out. She's a good community leader, friend of the shows here, and we like Michelle, so give her a holler. If you want to learn to kick people in the throat, you can visit masonsmartialarts.com. We're going to talk with my guest today about kicking people in the throat. He likes that too. But we've been open since 1993, 2 locations, one in Covington, one in Millington. So feel free to check us out. Jam Books and Records is a business we have on the square. It's got new books, used books, signed memorabilia, records, and graded comic books. So you can check us out, open 6 days a week. Holistic Healthcare and Hormones is my wife and Dr. Laura's new business. If you want to optimize your health, they're happy to speak with you. Visit holistichealthhormones.com. And then last but not least, if you're interested in creating, Josh just did a really good video commercial for me, a music video thing. But you can visit masonitemarketing.com and he'll help you out with all that stuff. So I'm excited today. Join me today. I've been I've known of you for a long time, Brent, but I've also sort of distantly been a fan of yours. So, but Mr. Brent Ruffin, who is fighter, MMA fighter, jiu-jitsu black belt, hunter, American Ninja Warrior veteran, firefighter. That's probably what takes a lot of your time.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brent and I were at the gym the other day, and I see him all the time, and I was like, hey, man, I really been wanting to get you on the podcast because this thing is really interesting. So anyway, thanks for coming on. How you doing?
Oh, good, man. Good. Yeah, no, like you said, no, I've been a distant fan myself because I'll be in the gym sometimes and I'll see you. And like we talked about, like, I don't ever want to interrupt anybody's workout.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'm always in the zone. I know everybody else in the zone. And I look over and I see you with like 6 plates on each side. And I'm just like, that'll never be me.
You'd be shocked. You're a pretty strong dude. I mean, I switched my training. I think we talked about it briefly. I personally changed my training because I'm older than you. And as I've gotten older, you and I think, have very similar interests coming up on a lot of the stuff. You went more of a jiu-jitsu route, and I was more of a striking route. I know you've done both.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, it's just, I was getting injured.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like, it was like tweaks more than anything.
Absolutely.
And so the powerlifting developed because I'm super competitive. It was a way to compete.
Yeah.
But shockingly, because I control that range of movement the whole time,
correct,
to some degree, I'm controlling the danger too. And so it was a new thing I like doing. Yeah. I'm competing at the Arnold this week, Friday, actually.
Heck yeah.
And then I'm probably going to back off of it a little bit.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, you're a super. We were, matter of fact, talking about that, and not to get us on a whole tangent, but like I was talking with you about grip strength.
Yes.
Because to do the American Ninja Warrior stuff is crazy grip strength. So I guess if people that don't know, feel free to introduce yourself. You can tell them, you're from here, what you do, all that. And then I want to kind of start with maybe the American Ninja Warrior stuff because I'm really interested in how you got into that.
Well, like Jerry said, my name's Brent, Brent Ruffin. I've been on Ninja Warrior 5 seasons. Now, it's been some years since I've been on. I think my last season was 2019, I believe, which was season 9. I was on it through season 5 through 9. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, as far as grip strength goes, man, like that whole, like the whole deal is that's what's oriented around is your grip strength. Now, the first qualifying round, and just from recent years of watching it, if you're a pretty decent athlete, if you've got some good explosiveness, you know how to carry yourself a little bit. Sometimes you can get through the first course, and when you move on to the semi-qualifiers, like that's when it starts turning up, and you really start working grip strength. And then if you make it past that to the finals, where you're really competing for the $1 million, that's when the grip strength really turns up.
So how did you get interested in that, and how did you get on their radar to do it?
Well, I've always watched the show. I watched it when it was Sasuke in Japan.
Yeah.
So like on I forget what the channel. What was it? G4?
G4.
Maybe?
That's what I watched it on.
Yeah. G4. Yeah. So I remember watching that and stuff like that, Wipeout and all that kind of stuff, you know. And I remember watching it with a friend of mine, and he was like, dude, you ought to try out for that. Like you could 100% do that stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, maybe. And that just got the wheels turning. So I started looking into it, like how to apply. Mm-hmm. And it was a whole ordeal. And another buddy of mine that does videography, photography, stuff like that, I was like, dude, you got to do a video application. It's like a novel's worth of paper application, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm willing to do it if you're in. So we made an application and sent it in, and I think the first season was 2013 or 14. Hell, I can't remember. Sent it in, and then like I was expecting nothing. You know, they were like, if you make it, you'll get a call back from us. Expect from a California area code, stuff like that. Man, like almost a month went by. I didn't hear anything. I was just like, we gave it our best shot. And then one day, a random California number popped up, and I just knew it. I was like, all right. So I answered it, and sure enough, that was it. They were like, hey, dude, we like your stuff. Let's give it a go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then what was because again, I'm asking because I don't know. My only experience in any of that and all the stuff I've done was about, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I got approached by some network. I can't remember if I did a non-compete on that or a non-disclosure on that or not. But there was a network wanting to vet us to do a reality show. Mm-hmm. And it started random, but there was like a tow company show that I got to know this one producer where all that stuff's fake. Like they say it's reality TV, but what it was is they wanted a character on the show where it was like a martial arts guy with a cop attitude. Right. That was like when there was real dangerous tow. Yeah. Well, that's how I got it. His friend of mine saw the thing and sent it to me. Anyway, long story short, it didn't pan out. I didn't get it right. But that person remembered us. And fast forward, they started doing. We went through these like several different interviews I did to get on this show, and it looked like it was going to be greenlighted. It was a lawyer reality show, right? And looked like it was going to go. Like they loved the Kickin lawyer thing. They had the pig at the time, all that. Anyway, so my only experience in it was and it got to the point where I had to actually. Initially, they didn't tell us who the producer didn't tell us who the network was. They just said it's a major network, right? And so finally, when I get to do the interview with the television producers, I got a contract and I had to sign a non-disclosure and did interviews with them and then made it through the final cut. And I was like, dang, this is going to happen. Yeah. And then it didn't pan out. Right. So
that's how reality TV is, man. It's just like constant interview after interview after interview. Everything's looking good, and then it could be nothing. Yeah. And they have no obligation to reach out to you whether or not you met it or not. It's
that's the same thing. I even followed up with them. Like these cats were apparently a company where they sort of build the idea and the cast, and then they try to sell it to that network. And then it either's picked up or it's not. But my point was with the American Ninja Warrior, I didn't know if like you had to sign anything. I didn't know if you got paid doing it. I didn't know what the actual. Obviously it's great exposure either way.
Right. But. Yeah, I'm not really sure how they do it now. Of course, after after like I kind of retired or whatever, they started giving payouts for like completing certain obstacles. Like they added a taller warped wall. That was like the biggest thing for the longest time. Was like who can make it up the warp wall? Yeah. They made a huge deal out of the first female to ever make it up the warp wall. That kind of stuff. So it was just the regular warp wall for us whenever I was on the show. When then they added like an 18-foot one. I believe it's 18 foot. Don't quote me on it, but if you made it up that after completing the qualifying, like if you made it up that, it was like $10,000 or something like that. Now, whenever I was on the show, there were like little payouts here and there. We had to sign like an NDA about we couldn't disclose how much we got paid and stuff like that for completing fastest time. So I made a little bit of money there, but it wasn't
Did they cover your travel and everything?
No.
Okay, so that was all on you.
Now, if you went to Vegas, like if you competed in the Mount Midoriyama for the $1 million, which was stage 4 of it, they started paying for stuff then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as far as like qualifying, semi-qualifying, no. It's like, hey, you made the show, see you there.
It's still great exposure though.
Oh man, yeah.
It's literally national, if not international.
Yeah. Oh exposure. Man. It was insane. I think one of the seasons, my second season, I think is they made a huge deal. Which she was a huge deal. I mean, she was a beast of a girl. She's actually in the WWE now. Mm-hmm. When she was the first female to ever make it up the warp wall. Yeah. And
she used to wear a little skirt thing, I think. I remember.
That was was that Jessie? Man, I can't remember. You're like making me dig back in the archive.
The Jessie one is the one I remember. So maybe
I'm pretty sure she wore like the whole skirt deal, the whole setup or whatever. But I believe Casey was the first one to ever make it up the warp wall, finish a qualifying course, and that episode got like 6.4 million viewers, which back in like 2015, that's. You know what I mean? That's crazy TV time, so it was huge.
Did you change your training? Because I know you were doing jiu-jitsu heavy, kickboxing, all this different stuff. Did you go all in and like adjust your training specifically to try to compete in that?
Absolutely, because the first season I got absolutely crushed.
Oh, really?
Yes. I went in there, had no idea what I was doing. I was just like a base, athlete. I played all your normal sports and all that kind of stuff. And I had no idea, like had no friends when I showed up there. Like everybody was kind of like, wasn't like cliquey. Everybody was like,
they probably knew each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I just didn't realize it was like its whole sport then. You know what I mean? I thought I just signed up for a reality show. And I think I like just totally ate it on the fourth obstacle, the fourth obstacle. In my mind, honestly, whenever I got there, I was like, just don't go out on the steps. The first step started. I was like, please do not eat it on the steps. You know what I mean? And because they don't guarantee you TV time, but a lot of people that just like bomb it, you get clipped. You
didn't want to be a meme.
No, not at all. Yeah. And so anyway, after that first season, I was like, all right, dude, I know what I've got to do now. I've got to travel around to these gyms. I've got to start training grip training. Like I've got to totally enthrall myself in this if I'm gonna do it seriously. So.
Did you do rock climbing or anything before?
No, not before. A little bit here and there, like just kind of every now and then stuff like that. But I really started.
Well, there was really, and you may know better than me. They've got a couple rock climbing gyms now, but I don't know of any like Ninja Warrior gym close proximity here.
There's a couple opening up in Memphis. I don't know their names. I would totally shout them out if I did. Sure. But I don't know their names, but I know for a fact there's a couple opening up like in the Carterville, Memphis area, something like that are very obstacle oriented. I think that's more directed towards kids, but because that's huge. Kids are huge into Ninja Warrior obstacles.
And it's just like the martial arts. We adults, some of us do it, obviously, but the kids is the draw.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to build a business model around it. So I would think there are not that many adults. There's a lot of that like to watch it and think about it, kind of like MMA.
Yeah.
But unless you're in a huge market, I could see them focusing on the kids.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, but they started opening up everywhere. Those kind of obstacle type gyms. But as far as rock climbing goes, I really started getting heavy into that, and that is what really changed my grip strength game. Yeah, for sure.
What was your weight when you were doing it?
I think the first season. That was kind of like when I also realized I was too heavy. Yeah. I think it was around like 185 then. I competed my best around 170.
Yeah. You're a thick dude. That's a positive. You're muscular.
Thicker now.
No, I mean, you're not fat. Obviously, you're very muscular. And then and I can easily carry a lot of fat, but I'm more thick too, right? And so for me, that's like I said, what we were talking about in the gym, because this weekend I got to do deadlift,
right?
And that's grip oriented, right? And I'm afraid that's going to be a limiting factor for me. But my point is, like in that stuff, your weight ratio I think would be very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you start having to carry everything on your fingertips and everything is you lift obviously, so you know what like a pumped out feeling feels like. Man, it's like a different experience when you're carrying your body weight. I
bet it made you even more of a killer with jiu-jitsu though.
Honestly, it helped. Yeah. Especially like gi jiu-jitsu. My gosh, man.
Yeah, you can just hold them in place.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. There is nothing I love more than like totally seeing somebody's demeanor change when they cannot break my grip off their lapel.
Yeah,
it's a game. You could just see it like I don't know. It just totally like changes their whole demeanor.
Yeah, well, and then that's we can talk about that too. The difference with gi and no gi jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So like because you and I rolled a couple times back years ago.
Yeah.
When I was doing the Atoka thing. But I did, so I don't know if you know this, it doesn't matter, but let me give you some reference. So I was mostly traditional karate stuff growing up. Like I said, I'm a little older than you, and so in the 80s, there was no jiu-jitsu. It was you did karate. Matter of fact, I vividly remember watching the first UFC.
Yeah.
And at the time it was pre-internet and stuff. So we had Black Belt Magazine, Kung Fu Illustrated. That's like where we got other, but and then everybody had their own style.
Right.
And if you were like a Korean stylist, you didn't do Japanese karate, like they hated each other.
Right.
So anyway, I remember watching this dude come out in a uniform, in a gi. And I was like, okay, cool. He's a jiu-jitsu, he's a karate guy or whatever. No, we didn't know. Literally no concept.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I vividly remember he was upside down. It might have been the second UFC, but one of them, he was fighting this dude in a kung fu outfit. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, the guy's standing up and we're like, yeah, he's getting up. Because you're like, stand up and fight like a man. And the next thing you know, the dude's tapping out like this. And we're like, we literally had such little concept of arm bars or any of that. I remember we didn't even know what was happening. It was me and like two other black belts. And we're like nationally ranked in striking.
Yeah.
And we're just lost. And so then a few weeks after that, I had a wrestler come in to challenge me. So back in the 90s, they would legit challenge. People would come around and challenge you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So this dude comes in. And
Dojo
I'm like,
storming.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm number one in the world. I'll fight anybody. I don't care. You know, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So he takes me down, and I had no idea what to do.
Yeah,
I think I was 16 or 17 and lost.
Yeah.
And so I realized there was a weakness in my game. Now, over the years, I still can hang with almost anybody striking. Like, really. I'm not saying I'll whip them, but I'm so good at reading what they're doing, and the body movement is so similar, regardless of Muay Thai or what. I can strike with the best of them. Yeah. But for some reason, even though I've done jiu-jitsu since like 94, 95, something like that, the jiu-jitsu never came second nature to me. Yeah. Like, even as I got to teaching it some, I wouldn't say I was natural at it.
Right.
I always felt uncomfortable. I was always a little claustrophobic with it, and it was just it's not like striking to me.
Right.
So anyway, I got, Hoist Gracie gave me my blue belt. This is in
awesome.
The 90s.
Yeah.
But I always
were him and Chad
together? They were
yeah.
buddies. I can't remember if it was at a seminar at Chad's place, actually. Right. And what they would do back then is you show up, we were just rolling around, and I don't even think I had a gi on. And he was like, "Here, you're a blue belt." That's literally what it was.
Nice, yeah.
So then fast forward.
Hey, honor though, you know what I mean?
I had a couple of dudes I hired to come teach. One of them was a guy named Adriano Nassau from the top team, okay? Mm-hmm. And he promoted me to purple belt. But what's interesting is, if you ask me now what my skill level is in jiu-jitsu, I would say blue belt, honestly. Because now, if it was in the 90s, I'm like a brown belt.
Yeah.
But that system has evolved so much.
Dude, it's unreal.
In the last 20 years. It's nuts.
Yeah.
You know?
And it constantly evolves.
Yeah.
Seriously, there is like a new guard. There is a new back take. There is a new, a lot of people, if you don't do like Della Eva and stuff like that, they call them twirlies and stuff. Dude, there's like new twirlies that come out it's unreal. And I think that's what attracts a lot of people to it. It's constantly evolving. Like, you never stop learning. And then there's just always people that are constantly evolving past you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
You got to stay on your game on it.
Oh, man.
And so that was one thing, if I'm being honest with you, that I struggled with.
Yeah.
Because I was always, the other problem I had is ego. I was always the guy. Like, when I grew up, I was the karate guy. And like, even though that's not karate, it's not striking, it's another range of combat. Yeah. I was always, because I'm older and I don't care anymore, I limited my own advancement because I was embarrassed if I rolled with somebody and got submitted.
Right.
I really was.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten past a lot of that now, but the problem now is like everywhere I go, people just try to beat my ass.
Yeah.
They're like, and I'm like, look, you can beat my ass. I just want to learn. Let me just roll.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the belt.
Yeah, dude. And hey, listen, 100%, I can agree on that, and like I can see eye to eye with you on that too. That was one of my biggest problems for the longest time, was like my ego with it and ego rolling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To the point where people got to where like they didn't like rolling with me because I was like, because in my head I was like, you are not going to submit me.
Yeah.
Like, pretty seriously, white belt through like the beginning of my purple belt, I was like, you are not going to freaking submit me.
Yeah.
Like that, dude, I would be so mad if I got submitted in class. Like,
that's the same way.
Like, and that's like where you're supposed to be learning. Those are your most of the, 90% of the time it's your teammates and stuff like that. And man, that's one thing. Is like when I got into later stages of purple belt, where you really start like honing in your technique and into brown belt, black belt, that kind of stuff. I started realizing like, man, that kind of stuff doesn't matter. Like if you compete, like where it matters is like where you go compete against other people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's where your ego starts needing. Now if you're any kind of competitor athlete, you know this, like your ego's always going to be there.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff's always going to bother you, stuff like that. But that was also kind of like a driving factor for me to keep going in jiu-jitsu. I never, you were talking about earlier how it like, you didn't feel like it came naturally to you. Dude, I didn't feel like it came naturally to me either. What got me diving into it, obviously, you have to have jiu-jitsu to do MMA.
Sure.
And I remember because I wrestled my senior year of high school. If I could go back and do it all over again, dude, I would have said screw all the other sports and I would have freaking wrestled all through school, right? I'm just telling you right now, like hardly anybody beats up wrestlers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That is like what the cream of the crop in the UFC
their conditioning's
unreal.
Yeah, it's unparalleled on these other systems.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started training, and because I competed in Muay Thai for a little while, then I was like, all right, if I'm going to try and make any kind of career out of this, go pro, then I got to do MMA. That's where the money is. That's where the eyes are, this and that. So I remember my first jiu-jitsu class. I went in there, I thought because I could box, I had some Muay Thai, I knew how to wrestle. Like these little jiu-jitsu nerds, like I thought I was going to go in there and just, make them look stupid. And no, I was made to look stupid by a blue belt that was probably 50 pounds lighter than me. Mm-hmm. Dude, that guy, I had mat burn all over my face, my elbows. Like, that guy choked me out like 20 times. I was still living at home at the time, and I got home, and both my parents were like, what the hell happened to you? It was from my first jiu-jitsu class, and that is what, like, turned the tables for me. I was like, dude, there is no reason a man of that size should be able to do that to me.
Yeah, people don't know what they don't know about it.
Yeah.
So when I used to go train with Ferguson in the old place they had, where it was in a basement.
Yes, the basement.
And it was in the summer, it's hot as hell. You're sweating, smelled. So we would go down there, and I would take a couple guys with me, and we went several times down there. But anyway, me and Dave had this, I don't want to say love, it wasn't love-hate, but it was more, I wanted him to know, because he looked at me as a karate guy, and I wanted him to know, hey, I'm a legit MMA guy. So I would do the straight grappling, usually the no-gi class they had. Yeah. And I remember one night in particular, because Dave was awesome. You know, he's great. He fought Dan Severin. He was legit.
Man, yeah.
Anyway, he was walking around because he was teaching and he was watching, and I had just submitted one of his purple belts, right? I don't remember the guy who it was, but I was excited. I was like, yeah. So then I get with this new white belt guy. Yeah. And we are grappling, and Dave just happens to come around and look. And I was trying to sit out from under him and come out the back. Yeah. And he managed to, he was real lanky. And he tied me up with some kind of guillotine variation. And he did it so fast, I was doing the whole snot out my nose stuff. Yeah. And I had to tap, and I was like, I'll be damned. Yeah. And that's what he saw. He saw me get snotted out by this white belt. And I literally had just tapped. I was a blue belt at the time, just tapped his purple belt. And my point was, man, the ego for me, it was always a big issue. And then I always felt, too, when especially as MMA developed in the area, and I had a fight company, and then we had the fight team that was big, like, it felt like everybody, and it's true, you got a target on you. I was the head guy, and people were all, even my students, everybody. So every class was a fight. Every class, if we're striking or trying to knock me out, if we're grappling and trying to tap me out. Yeah, dude. And so it's just straight. It got to where it wasn't fun anymore. Right. You know, it was a stressful thing. So I stopped jiu-jitsu altogether. Yeah. Like, I sort of pulled out. I even eventually stopped our MMA team. And if I'm being honest, again, a lot of it was probably because of my ego. I enjoy this stuff now, but I wish I could go somewhere and nobody, and it's not an ego thing where they know me, but
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I don't want to go in. I just want to be a student.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And go learn.
Man, that's a lot of times, like, I'll go and teach. I do enjoy teaching stuff, and I've taught a lot of classes, but that's why I've never, like, really wanted to just be a designated instructor, a designated teacher and stuff like that. Not because, like, so much, but you're right, though, a target does get put on your back, and it is. Like, it's a freaking all-out war.
Because that's a step for them. And it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. But I still like to be a student of the game, no matter what. You know what I mean? And I've always felt like the more I start teaching, like, it's weird because a lot of people will be like, man, I've got so much better technically from teaching. I feel like I start getting worse. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's always been a weird dynamic for me with it. But no, I 100% agree with you because I've gone into, especially like, dude, when you get your black belt in jiu-jitsu, especially like your rage white belts and stuff like that, man, those guys are coming after you 1,000%.
And sometimes they're harder.
Oh, I know.
You know, because they don't know any better. They don't relax. No. They're more dangerous to roll with, hurt you or them. You know, sure. You get a couple of advanced guys that are just rolling, you know, it is different. But yeah, so I mean, I say all that because personally I would like to go back at some point and train under someone and just just learn. Yeah. That's all I want to do. The ego is getting past that for me now. Yeah. But I also am getting older, and if you start bowing up on me, then I'm going to bow up on you, and then I'm probably going to get hurt, or I'm going to cheat.
Yeah. You're not going to show it in class until you get in the truck to get in the car or whatever. You're like, oh my God, why did I do that?
Exactly. I got in my own school. I used to have a rule where I had never been submitted in my own school, right? Yeah. Again, ego. And I was rolling with this guy. He hadn't been there long, but he's bigger than me. He's a little stronger than me. And he had me in Americana, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't tap. Yeah. So, and he was like torquing it, had it down right, and something ripped. I didn't tap. To this day, I have something going on. I didn't tap, right? But come on, it's just being an idiot. Yeah. You said something I wanted to ask you if you've seen it. So wrestling, have you seen this new Real American Freestyle Wrestling group they've got?
The RAF or what?
Yeah. Did you see the big brawl they just had this weekend?
With Giorgio,
Armand. What is his name? Yeah. Giorgio I've watched for years on YouTube because he does the Take Me Down, Get $1,000 thing. Yeah. And I haven't gotten to see the actual match, but it looked like he was popping him in the head.
They were doing hard collar ties.
They were getting hard at each other.
This and that, and then they just started getting harder. Then they started turning into slaps. And and say what you want. There's a lot of shit talking about that Armand. How do you say his last? Sartukian. I can't remember.
It's a Greek.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Armand. And anyway, that dude, he is about it 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the wrong guy to be freaking collar tying the crap.
You're talking about the other guy, the Armani guy. The Greek guy is the Giorgio, whatever his name is. But I didn't know him, but I started watching it. My wife went out of town this weekend for a martial arts thing. And so I just happened to be sitting there eating cheese dip and was watching the last one and then stumbled across it. Yeah. But I thought that was super cool. Yeah. I didn't know it even existed. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Same. That the real wrestling.
Right.
And and the pro wrestling too. But anyway,
I was about to say, did you not pro wrestle for
No, I wanted to. So we had a guy on. We had a pro wrestler on. So me and Jay are buddies. You know Jay Black?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and Jay have been buddies for years.
Right.
And Jay, of course, did some.
Maybe that's where I thought maybe you got involved in it too. But
I would. I would get involved in it. I've interviewed Jerry Lawler, and I've got some interesting stories on Bill Superstar Dundee.
Yes.
Because he owned a few clubs of a certain type in Jackson. And when we were first doing the High Octane Fighting Championship stuff, it wasn't actually fully legal in Tennessee.
Right.
It wasn't regulated. It was unregulated. And anyway, there's a whole lot of stuff I can tell you off the record about.
I think I remember being probably like 13, 14 years old and being at some of the unregulated shows.
Yeah.
Like, dude, awesome.
Oh, they were awesome. Yeah. I mean, we had little kids fighting. My son was 6 and fought Jay's son.
Yeah.
And they're in there beating the crap. And they're they were pretty technical.
Yeah,
like some of these adults, no training, and they had come up in it, and they were actually real technical. But I mean, they're like 6.
Yeah, you know? Right.
Anyway, so I had involvement with all those guys, and you see my office. When we get done, I got all this memorabilia from like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and all of them. But Jay is a bigger fan than I am.
Yeah.
Jay is like, woo, like he loves him some wrestling. And so he did it. You know, he's had the robe and performed. But he and I joked. We got a little intoxicated at the night fighting that they had at the distillery over here. Mm-hmm. Have you been to that? Have you been to the distillery?
Not yet, no.
You need to go. If you message me, we can go together because he's a good dude. Darren's my buddy that opened the place. It's super nice. Anyway, 797 Distillery if y'all haven't visited him. But he's got different events that go on. So he had night fighting, like dressed in the knights, medieval knights, beating the hell out of each other. And so me and Jay were sitting there. Both of us had fought, right?
Right.
And so we're watching them. We were like, man, we could take these guys. And we're drinking, and I was like, man, I wonder if I can get in there. I said, I bet I could pay them a couple $100 and let me get in there. So they call me out, one of them. So I go up there, and me and him are getting lit, you know? Yeah. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, I'll fight this guy. And I was like, but look, I wanted to be able to kick.
Yeah.
And they were all in, because they're, it was real slow, big movements.
Right.
And I was like, I'll get in there, but I don't want to wear any gear.
Yeah.
So I just want to get in there and kick. And he's like, you can't do that. It's liability. I was like, it ain't. It's not a liability. I was like, just let me kick and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you got to wear this. You got to have a sword. Anyway, long story short, I didn't get in there. But what I was getting at is after that, me and Jay got to talking. And we were like, man, we need to do like a wrestling federation.
Yeah, dude.
You could be in it. We could do a pro wrestling show.
Hell yeah,
so
dude.
I think it'd be cool. Did you ever do any of that?
No, man. So what's crazy is
because WWE, you would fit, man. You'd be great.
Well, so during my Ninja Warrior stint, I think it was after my 3rd season, and like you said, like all the eyes on it, all the viewers, stuff like that. I actually had a rep from WWE reach out to me. What was their reality show? Tough Enough, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a rep from Tough Enough reached out to me. It was like, hey, dude, we would freaking love to have you on the show. Like, we love your build, like we love your personality, stuff like that. Like we'll turn you into our own little, freaking redneck dude or whatever. Yeah. They're like, but you would crush it, stuff like that. And at the time. Which, man, I was such an idiot back then. I wish I could go back and, like, have the right person look over all my paperwork and stuff that I signed and, like, all this kind of stuff. But I ended up not being able to do that because the season that I had filmed for Ninja Warrior had not come out yet, and they didn't want the two to, you know what I mean? And they were like, nah, you can't. Come on, man. Like, you can't do one reality show that hasn't even aired yet and be signed up for something else and stuff like that. So I didn't get to do it, and I feel like that would have been a freaking lifetime, an opportunity for me.
Well, you're still young, though. Like how
I just turned 36, bro.
That's not old. I mean, I still think that's all.
Dude, I feel like if I
think you look better now than you did.
Well, yeah. Well, I appreciate it, but like, I was a lot leaner then. I was a lot I'm obviously much stronger now, just because I've been hitting the weights and stuff like that. I don't care about I'm not cutting weight for anything right now and stuff like that. And that was my biggest thing is like I'm a what's the best way to put it? I'm a I feel like I'm a big little guy. I don't feel like I'm a little big guy. So like I always had to stay at a smaller weight because I was always such like a tweener guy.
When you fought, what weight did you fight at?
I started out at 170,
Okay,
welterweight.
so welterweight.
And those welterweight cuts freaking killed me, dude. Like my first 2 MMA fights at 170, I just felt like death. You know, now I rehydrate and stuff like that, obviously, but I started fighting at 185, and that was my much better weight.
Yeah.
You know, so and it's crazy, even like walking around at close to 220 now, like I'd still be an actual 185er.
Yeah, so I feel the exact same way. I feel like, again, I'm a bigger, small guy, and I got small wrists and hands and stuff. And I fought, my first pro fight was 170.
Yeah.
But then the next, when I was in law school, and I honestly did one because I needed the money, it was supposed to be 205, and at the time I was like 220. So it wasn't that big a deal to cut to the 205. But the problem came when I got there. This was, again, shady fight group back in the day. I get there, and they're like, yeah, your guy's paperwork's wrong, but it's okay. We got another guy for you. And my pay was contingent on I had sold tickets and was supposed to get a percentage of them. Right. So I needed to fight, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay. I was like, who's the guy? And he points to this guy, and there's this huge guy. I look behind him, and I'm like, where? And he's like, that guy. And this guy, he was every bit of, 300 pounds. Oh, and I was like, well, he's too big. And he said, oh, no, he's 265. So we'll make it a heavyweight fight. You're 205 to 265, right?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, oh, man. And again, ego kicks in.
265, 205. Yeah, makes perfect
sense. No,
wait,
and I bet he wasn't 265. I'm sure they fudged his weight.
Oh, I'm sure.
The only plus was he was a boxer.
Yeah.
And he had like no other MMA training. So I was like, okay.
Keep your distance there.
I figured I could outkick him. And then, anyway, it worked out. But, I didn't know what his background was or nothing. And my point was ego almost made me pull out of that one. But I agree. I think also, what are you, 6 foot, 5?
Yeah, 6'1".
So I was like 5'11" until all this lifting the last few years. I'm about 5'10" now. But I think I would probably, I think it compressed my spine.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably be like 185. I don't think I could do 170 again. I think I'm so big now. I don't think I could do it.
Man, it's so crazy. Like a lot of these young guys that are coming up, man, it's crazy how big they are. Like even a couple guys I train with at Memphis now that are 170 fighters, like they're like I'm like, dude, how are you?
Yoel Romero.
Yes, dude.
That dude walks around at like 230 or something. And fights, I think, at 170.
A freaking unit. Yeah. Well,
and he's lean at like 230.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And he's older too.
Yeah, he's 40 something. I think.
Yeah. Well, I say older for the sport. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But yeah, dude, that guy, that like so crazy. But I think and he comes from a wrestling background, and that's another thing. I think once you get in that mentality of like just the toughness of it all, and like, dude, if you can make it through the weight cut, like if you got a hard weight cut, like competing is like, that's the natural part, that's the part that comes easy, so those kind of guys, like they're coming up now where like weight cutting is just, they know it's part of it, it's crazy the weight that guys are making now.
Let me ask you this question just on a sort of side note. So back when it was growing 90s, early 2000s, and Joe Rogan's a big advocate of this, they were, and I kind of agree with it. In Japan with Pride and stuff, they didn't do weight cut.
Yep.
The Americans would, because that was kind of from wrestling. But there's some argument that's so dangerous for a lot of these guys that maybe you just let them fight at their natural weight.
Yep.
What do you think about the weight cut? I mean, obviously now everybody does it to be competitive. But.
Yeah, man, I think it's such an integrated part of the sport now. I think it's always going to be there, especially here in the States. And as part of it, you've got the term weight bully that's going around big right now. Like they call like Khabib a weight bully and stuff like that because he was cutting down from like 210 to 155 and stuff like that. Man, I'm fine with it because it's like, dude, if you can make the weight, you made the weight. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. As far as a safety thing goes, I think like the water testing that they're doing now for high schoolers, middle school, high schoolers, stuff like that, they're really not allowing them to cut that crazy weight. Like, whenever I was coming up in high school, I mean, as long as it's done safely for kids and stuff like that, I'm good with it. Like when you're an adult, like, you're outside of high school sports, stuff like that, like you're making that choice. You know what it does to your body. You know it's not good for you. I'm good with it. Do I think it's kind of weird that somebody might cut down from 178 to 155, and then you got a guy cutting down from 200 to 155, whatever. But you agree to the weight.
It's true.
So
yeah, I guess as long as they make the number. I'm also the type that thinks that all professional athletes should be allowed to do all the steroids. Because if I'm paying money to see you, I want to see the biggest roided up, jacked up dude.
Hey man, dude, I was so sad, and I knew it too when Alistair Overeem when he got busted for all the gear he was on, dude.
That dude, he was a unit.
Oh my dude, that
there
guy
were a bunch of them back then.
Yeah,
like that.
Well, my argument with that always is like I understand like the UFC and stuff like that. They're trying to be a mainstream sport. You can't have guys blasting freaking. You know what I mean?
So Pride did.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Look at Vanderlei Silva.
Yes, dude, that guy was scary. Like,
even Vitor Belfort.
Yes,
look
dude,
at the voided version.
Yeah,
of him.
TRT Belfort.
Yeah.
Dude. I always say like, hey, if you're like struggling like which one you liked better, like go back and watch Pride fights when those guys were like literally hitting tests before they got in the ring and stuff like that, and watch the UFC fights. Now there's still some great UFC fights stuff like that, but like you go to Pride and then USADA, UFC, like dude.
Yeah, well they're doing.
So I'm with you.
They're doing enhanced games now. Do you know that's coming in Vegas? It's matter of fact, it's coming soon. I was looking at it, maybe even getting tickets. Now they're not doing combat sports.
Okay.
But they've got this, some like Saudi Arabian millionaires literally got multiple $1 million prizes on the line if these people break these world records.
Okay.
And so they've got doctors supervising them, and they are geeked to the gills on whatever. There was one dude who was like, finished like 4th or 5th in some national swim competition. You should look it up. And he literally you look him up, Josh, the Enhanced Games swim dude. He's got lats that look like wings now.
Yeah, dude.
This cat. So jacked. You could look at the before and after. And then like Hafthor Bjornsson is trying to break his own deadlift world record. But again, he's doing the whole.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right.
That's one right there, that very first one.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Then go to the one with him in his Speedo thing. You can see his lats popping out. Yeah, the up one.
Oh my god! Yeah, dude. Yeah.
See, that's before and after. Look at those Look, just geeked out. Look at even his
dude. His head, his head and his neck just connect as one. Like
Anyway, they're doing swimming, running, and not to. Again, it is what it is. I just think because you and we're both in this fitness world, and I'm now gone to. I go to the Arnold every year.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's bodybuilding, power, all this stuff. Oh yeah. And I just think if you're an adult and you want to do whatever you want to do, I'm a libertarian. As long as it's not hurting somebody else, do you?
Yeah.
But anyway.
I know, dude. I'm with that. Seriously, I'm all for it. Like, I love sports for the entertainment factor. You know what I mean? And I'm with it. I've never been like a stickler against it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't had to do any steroids, but I'm not opposed to TRT or things, especially as you get older. You know. But I used to say that when I left the sheriff's office, that they were going to know because I was going to get so jacked. You know, I was going to do everything. I just had my wife's a nurse, would probably be pissed at me. But anyway, another question I wanted to ask that we sort of touched on in the beginning is you were known as the Redneck Ninja.
Yes. And
my comment to you was I've never really thought of you as a redneck, but I guess you go to California, you're a redneck. So how did that come up?
Man, so listen, before I get into that, like, I do enjoy all the redneck things. I do. Whatever you want to consider redneck. Like, I will.
You think your sister's hot?
No, yeah, no, like not that. We're not Alabama rednecks.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that kind of stuff. But so that moniker just kind of got pushed on me from Ninja Warrior or whatever. Like, they asked me if I had any kind of nicknames and stuff like that, and then I cannot remember for the life of me who was calling me that. I think it was somebody from like the early days of jiu-jitsu when I was training, stuff like that. They called me the Redneck Ninja, and I was like half-assed, like jokingly. Yeah. I threw that out there in an interview with a producer, and he was like, "That's it." He's like, "You are the Redneck Ninja."
It's cool. I mean, I like it. I just wondered how it developed.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? It's because I'm from the South and like I hunt and stuff like that. Obviously, I probably have a like a Southern accent, a country accent, whatever you want to call it. And so they picked up on that. All those guys are from California. All those guys are from up north. So like the producers and whatnot. And so yeah, I don't know why they ate that up so much, but yeah, that's what got pushed on me, and that's what stuck, and that's what got pushed on TV. So it just took off.
That's
and
cool.
That's kind of
people still call you Redneck Ninja?
Oh, dude, all the time. I'll be walking through a store or something like that, and then just randomly I hear Redneck Ninja.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's it was cool, man. Like I enjoy stuff like that. It never bothered me or whatever. So I mean, but I'm with you because do I consider myself a redneck? No, but
well, I think low in our southern area,
Yeah.
we know you're not what we would call a redneck.
Yeah.
But I could see how I had the same problem. I used to be on the U.S. Taekwondo team, right, when I was younger. And I got to travel all over the place. And everywhere I would go, all the other people, members of the team, thought that I was the most redneck person. They were like, say that again. You know, want me to talk.
Right.
And I tried to even kind of cover the Southern drawl some when I was there because, not that I was embarrassed of it, but you just get sick of them making fun of you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think locally my Southern accent is as bad as some. You know,
absolutely, dude. I've got some friends even hearing it my whole life. I'm like, bro, what did you just say?
Some of them I'm struggling to understand what they're saying.
But like I said, dude, shoot, I'm right there in the thick of them. Like with, all that kind of stuff. Like all the what you would consider redneck hobbies, dude. I'm into it. So I guess it's half-assed true. But like I said, they heard me say that. I guess they took it from my accent, like all my hunting and outdoor hobbies and stuff like that, and that's just what stuck.
You know, our brother, so Josh is my brother.
Yeah.
He's my youngest brother. And then I have a middle brother named Justin. And he's closer to your age. Actually, he's, what am I, 47? He's 44, right? Yeah, so no, he's not close to your age anyway. So Justin is a redneck.
Okay.
Like straight up.
Yeah.
He's into the hunting and the fishing.
Yeah.
He works for the TWRA and does stuff out in, I think, the Lauderdale one.
I got you.
But that's all he cares. That's his whole life.
Yeah.
Is when am I going to go hunting? When am I going to go fishing?
Right.
And for some reason, that interest or gene jumped me and Josh.
Yeah,
you know?
Zero interest.
Yeah, neither one of us hunt or fish.
Oh, dude, I am all about it. Like I can't, like I'm a big archery hunter.
I was just fixing to say, I think you do bow hunting.
Yeah, right? big bow hunter. I grew up hunting whitetail deer with my dad and stuff. I mean, I grew up hunting everything. My dad took me, all kinds of. If you can hunt it here, like we were hunting it. That's what I did growing up, and that's it's one of the things that's always like stuck with me. I've always enjoyed it. I've never gotten bored with it. I look forward to deer season so much every year. It's like once it ends, like I'm starting to prep and get ready for the next season coming up. And but yeah, man, I've always been ate up with it, and I would really like my biggest goal as far as hunting is to go out west and to archery hunt elk.
I was just to ask if you done any elk hunting.
Yeah, not yet. No, I would love to. I have talked about it for 5-6 years now. Life, staying busy, all that kind of stuff. It's a hard trip to take out there, especially if you're going to try to like hunt public ground, like on your own, stuff like that. A lot of guys take guide trips and stuff like that. Their first, couple go arounds. And but yeah, that's really like that's my end goal, is to get out there and really
you got to be real patient to do that too, and have time to do it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've heard again, I listen to Joe Rogan. I've heard him talk about it all the time. Him and I think Cam Haines.
Yep.
Too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Big into running. I just was never my thing. Yeah. I respect people that do it, like especially the patience. Yeah. I've been hunting several times. I mean, almost everybody here has. But like deer hunting is boring to me.
Yeah.
Squirrel was okay.
Yeah. That's what my dad does. My dad squirrel hunts with dogs a lot. That's his thing, and it's a lot of fun.
Dove was okay because you see the dove.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but like sitting in the freezing, like I don't get it. Like you sit there waiting and you don't see nothing.
Right. I know, dude. I know it's part of it, and it really does. It turns a lot of people off to it. But like especially like if you run camp, like it just depends on how big you're into it. Like I like chasing, obviously like I hunt for meat, stuff like that. I've always eaten deer meat, stuff like that. But I also like chasing like the big mature bucks and stuff like that. And I usually have like one really good deer or a couple really good deer that I'm after every season. And man, it's like a game, and people always laugh, if they don't understand it, they don't know what I'm talking about. Like those deer, even though they will run out in front of you and just look at you and let you obliterate them with your car, they are actually very smart, and like especially like the big mature bucks and stuff like that. And it just becomes a game, to chase them and just get out there, and it's a challenge. Or like you're talking about, like the freaking freezing, terrible weather that you go sit out there. I cannot tell you how many times I've sat out there and I've literally just been wet, like cold. My feet are freezing. No matter how good your gear is, your hands are cold. You're like, what the hell? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why did I get out of bed to do this? You know what I mean? But dude, it like. I killed the biggest deer I've ever killed this year. And
nice.
And
what size was it?
As far as inches go, like scoring the rack, it scored 145 inches. So that's my biggest deer I've ever killed. Great deer for around here. It's really hard for a deer to get that size, and where we're located in Tennessee. And that morning, I did not want to get up and go. but I forced myself to do it because I'd seen that deer on camera. I was sitting in the stand. I hadn't seen anything for the first 2 hours I was out there. I was freezing, and I've got pretty good gear. And I was freezing, even with like my good stuff on, and like I'd already given myself like 30 minutes. I always give, like, when I want to get down out of my tree stand, I always give myself 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, dude, push it 30 more minutes. And like I ended up killing that deer within that 30 minutes. You know, that deer came chasing does behind me, and I ended up getting a good shot on him, stuff like that. But if I had gotten down, I would have killed him. And so it's just man, but like I said, it's just a game, and it's a huge adrenaline rush, and like that like 5 minutes that like it took me to get up and shoot that deer. Like I always call my dad every time like I shoot a big deer or something like that. I call my dad, and as soon as I got off the phone with him, like the shakes. Like anybody that knows what I'm talking about has buck fever or whatever, or just deer fever in general. After like you shoot a deer or something like that, you're just like just ate up with adrenaline. And so yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
you probably hear me say that. You're like,
no, I get it. I respect it. Anytime somebody's passionate about something,
yeah.
Other than like dressing up like a horse and pretending to be a horse or something, but most of the time when you're passionate about something, I'm like, that's cool. I respect it.
Right.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I like guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big gun guy
for sure.
But it was more like I like target shooting. I like tactical shooting.
Yeah.
I even debated before I got into powerlifting, and I still might do it because you can do it at being older. I was going to do the 3 gun competitions.
Yeah.
Because I was an armorer. I know how to break them down, whole deal, build up my own AR platform. Anyway, so I'm big into guns, but it just doesn't motivate me on the hunting them.
Yeah, right.
I always joked about that I was a cop for so long, I hunted humans.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I get it. No, seriously, it is not for everyone. And like you said, like this, that part of deer hunting like just doesn't appeal to a lot of people.
Well, Justin loves it. He's like you. He literally is thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
And his whole world revolves around, and his wife's gotten into it too, but the whole world for him revolves around the seasons.
Yeah,
and,
for
what
sure.
the hunt season is.
Yeah, and
he likes fishing too, though.
I got so, dude, I can sit there and just nerd out about deer hunting and stuff like that, especially with archery and whatnot. But I love fishing, so I've really gotten into fly fishing the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm ate up with it. It's just like any other hobby.
Can you do that around here?
You can for I was about to say freshwater fish. They're all freshwater fish around here, but like for like bass and brim, like your your pond, river, fish like that kind of stuff. You can fly fish for them, but really, what I like to do it for trout. You know what I mean? So I go over to Arkansas a lot, the Spring River area, that kind of stuff. Little Red. So yeah, that's where I usually travel to go for fly fishing. But it's just like any other hobby. You can spend freaking thousands of dollars on it and get all into it and stuff like that. And so
when you do, I assume you practice shooting the bow, right?
Yes.
So one thing I've always wondered about, again, because Joe Rogan's commented on it, is if you're just doing one side, you start to develop muscles a certain way on one side.
Right.
Do you do both sides to balance it out? Or?
No. It's kind of like either a right-handed or left-handed thing. Like their compound bows that they make, that's got like the wheels and cams on the end of it. So like you've got right-handed bows and left-handed bows, and I'm right-handed, so yeah, I just shoot right-handed.
Yeah, because Joe Rogan talks about he'll shoot so many one side and then he'll do the other side to balance out.
Yeah, no, like I don't have the kind of funds that Joe Rogan, or sponsorships and stuff like that, endorsements and whatnot. So I don't just have like a plethora of different sided bows and stuff like that. So I've always shot right-handed. Now, one thing I do is that I also do is traditional archery. I've got a hickory, like a handmade hickory stick longbow, no cams, no nothing. It's just like straight instinctive shooting. And that's
what's the range on that?
I've killed a deer with it at 40 yards.
That's impressive though. I always get. I mean, I know they've got some power if you put them, but it ain't no comparison to the compound bows.
Yeah, so your compound bows have got all the let off and stuff. Like once you get to full draw, like you can just kind of sit there with it, and that's what's considered your let off or whatever. That stick bow, dude, it's like as soon as you get it's set at like almost 60 pounds. So like it was made at almost 60. So as soon as you get like right here, you're letting it go. And so, but it takes a lot of practice. You don't ever want to go out with any kind of weapon that you're unsure of. You don't want to wound anything.
Sure.
So yeah. So that.
Have you talked to Jason Glass about that?
Yes.
Because Jason used to do sneaking up on them, with like blood paint and the knife, and then he would like jump and stab it with the knife.
No,
He for real did that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know he did all that, but no, here in the last few weeks, because he's got an elk hunt trip coming up.
Okay.
We've been talking a whole lot about archery.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. No. So he when I first met Jason, he used to not look anything like he does now.
Really?
When I first met Jason, he was a long distance runner.
Okay.
So he's a little older than I am. And in school, he was super skinny. He did long distance running. And then he came and trained with us and did some MMA stuff.
Okay.
And he was getting thrown around a little bit because he was smaller and he didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so literally that's when he started lifting weights.
Okay.
Is because he didn't like the way he was
because
getting
dude's
thrown
jacked.
around. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he used to be even more jacked. He's still in great shape.
Right.
But he got the ego lifting thing going for a while and ended up getting hurt at one point where we were working out together. And he's actually, I think, smaller than me but stronger. So I was always chasing him strength wise.
Right.
And I said all that because he would tell me these stories. And I was like, man, this guy's weird. Because he would be like dressed like an Indian and like creeping up on the deer. And he had to get close enough to, stab it, look in its eyes.
Ultimate stalks on it.
Yeah,
that.
He called it primitive hunting or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, no, about as primitive as I get is hunting with that longbow and stuff like that. Now they've got those like hog hunts where you can go and get after them with a big knife and stuff like that. But no, I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, well,
I'm not opposed to it. But
Josh, you gonna do that?
Nope.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, so in your firefighting too, right?
Yep.
Still, is that what you?
Firefighter paramedic.
That's what you do.
That's the career. That's
your main job.
Yeah, that's
right?
the career job.
Yeah, I got you. And then where are you training when you're doing your jiu-jitsu and stuff now? You go to Memphis?
Yeah, I still go to Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu. That's been my home gym for forever, and now I kind of bounce out to one of my good buddies, Eric McMahon. He opened a gym up in Collierville.
Okay.
And they're kind of like a part like affiliate gym of Memphis. So I kind of bounce back in between those two. Now I cross train a good bit. Like if I've got people I know somewhere that train. Like I'll try, I'll bounce around and go train with them just to get more looks.
Yeah. So my opinion, for whatever it's worth, and I've been out of the loop on some of it. Back in the day, there weren't many gyms. In the 90s, there was like Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu was really the only one for a long time.
Yep.
And it's still, I think, most people would agree, is kind of your pinnacle. I think. And then a lot of the other gyms that have grown up are good, and I'm not knocking any of them, but a lot of them came out of Memphis Judo Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
Ferguson just built a great thing there, man.
And then, he really did.
There was one cat, I don't think he's there anymore, so I won't bring his name up. I liked him, but I think he had, I probably shouldn't comment on it. He's not there anymore, but I think it's because he...
I probably know who you're talking about.
You probably do know. He was awesome, though, man. He was the only cat... I mean, I've rolled with a lot of people. I rolled with Hoist, all of them, and Hoist was so different. It's, again, a difference to me in the way Jiu-Jitsu's evolved. Because when I rode with Hoist, I mean, he knew more than I did, but he was real smooth.
Right.
He wasn't really resisting me.
Yeah.
And then when I was rolling with this other cat that I was hinting at, he was so aggressive and he was like, I could tell he was 4 or 5 moves ahead of me before I had done anything.
Right.
But he was beating everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And then, anyway, there's been a lot of great people come out of.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. That was like, and, I had that whole like freaking like God complex with a lot of those guys when I first started because they were so good at jiu-jitsu. And it was like you were talking about, like even like me being a freaking strong athlete, like getting a little better at jiu-jitsu, they would just crush me. They would just absolutely crush me. And like it got to the point where I was like, dude, all right, I'm gonna go train today and I'm gonna try to get armbarred like 4 times less by this guy than I usually do. And that's that's one of the things that always pushed me to like just keep freaking training. I don't know if you want to call it like too dumb to quit or what the case be, but I just and it was because of the caliber of guys that were there. You know what I mean? And and I never was a top dog until like I was a top dog, if that makes sense. And it just man, yeah. So yeah, ton of good guys, stem from what Dave built at Memphis and that kind of stuff. And a lot of people have branched out now and they're doing their own things, which is great. We need more gyms.
Yeah,
here.
and a lot of them are great. There's even Stan, because I have a taekwondo school in Millington, and then our only real competition is Stan. Then he's good. I mean, I think that what they do is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different take on it.
Good one in Atoka, crosstown. Yeah, that's what
so explain that one to me, because I think Jay goes there.
Yes,
Jay and his boy Austin.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure whose it was or who they were, because you had he calls himself, it was Cat Daddy. What was his name? I know him. He was a dispatcher. I want to say, I can't believe I can't think of his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So it looked like he was a teacher there, which is great, but I just didn't know what the affiliation was.
Craig.
That's it, Craig.
Okay, when you say Cat Daddy, I was like, okay, I recognize the nickname.
Well, he got it. Look, and I couldn't pick his name up because he's great, and he's lost a bunch of weight. He got in awesome shape, and used jiu-jitsu as motivation.
Yeah, I actually saw him at a. I had to do a CU class for paramedic stuff the other day. You know, he was dispatching where I was doing this class at, and I saw him, and it's like every time I see him, like, dude, he looks in like he always looks in better shape every time I see him.
Look, I'm super proud of him.
Yeah.
You know, I think in life you see people, especially if you get to certain spots in life, you've probably experienced this. There are a lot of people that are all of a sudden going to be hating on you.
Yeah.
They don't want you to succeed. They want you to hold you back.
Oh yeah.
And I always have this saying that, you know, people don't punch. They don't punch down, or they don't punch up.
They don't punch up.
Yeah. So like or they don't punch down. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. They're under me is what I'm saying. So I just try to ignore it. But what I'm getting at is I am always proud to see somebody succeed.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if they were like with me, allied with me, and then go do their own thing, but they're successful with it.
Yeah.
You always want people to do better. At least that's how I like to think that I am now.
Right.
I didn't used to be like that. I used to be very, what would be the word? I was protective.
Yeah.
Confrontational and protective of what I thought was my area.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get past all that. There's room in the world for everybody to succeed.
Right.
But with Craig, I always knew him when I was a deputy.
Right.
And he just looks amazing. He's done a great job. I'm glad to
and
see
he's gotten really good at jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't rolled with him.
Yeah.
But I've kept up with him on Facebook and stuff on what he's doing. He's
Right.
competing and doing all that. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is theirs off of that side road there in Atoka?
Yes.
It's all 51 on the.
Yeah, it's right in front of the Atoka fire station. I forget what road that is.
Yeah, right, just down from the Breakfast Cove, right? No, or is it in Atoka proper?
No, it's in Atoka proper.
Okay,
yeah.
well, I didn't know where it was at then.
Right.
There used to be one off of the down from the Breakfast Cove, down on like the south end of the county. Before you get to Shelby County, there was that little side road. I forget the name of it.
Oh, yeah. That's where it was for. That's where it was.
So it's the same one.
Yes,
okay.
yeah. That's where it was for a little while, and then it moved. Yeah, then it moved locations, and yeah, that was the one that I was involved with for a little while. It was called Cross Kick then.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was called Cross Kick then, and then now it's just strictly a jiu-jitsu gym, and yeah, they're doing good things over there for sure. And but it was like I was saying, yeah, like I'm glad to see more gyms popping up, and I'm glad to see more people, you know, branching out and stuff like that. Because man, that was like such a stigma. Like whenever we were coming up, as I think in Portuguese, Brazilian terms, it's called the criança or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like you don't go train other places. You don't cross train. Like you don't go train under somebody else. Like this is your team. This is your, you know what I mean? And I mean, man, that's just, like in your local, like that's not having that attitude is not where you get better. Now, granted, like I say that, but you know, my team is my team. That's who I'm going to train with. That's who I stick with. You know what I mean? I'm not going to other people's like actual classes. I'll go to an open mat. I'll go to a seminar somebody's holding, stuff like that. But I'm open to go train with other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that like that just, you know, I think that's an evolving thing now in jiu-jitsu because dude, it was frowned upon back in the day.
It was karate too.
Yes.
And then it was frowned upon to do the other styles for a long time.
Yeah.
And then back in the day, one thing that's interesting to see the evolution is there used to be tons. Well, like when I did the High Octane Fighting Championship.
Yeah.
So I developed a curriculum that we called Complete Combat.
Okay.
Because here's the problem. I knew there was a model where I could make money doing the fights.
Yeah.
But I needed fighters.
Yeah.
And the problem was there was only like 3 schools at the time in the area that had fighters or anybody that had any grappling skill.
Right.
So at the time to fund the shows, we would do pro wrestling. I had matches of pro wrestling. Bill Dundee came on.
Yeah.
I even had taekwondo matches,
right,
kickboxing matches, and then the few and far between the MMA matches.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I thought was going to help me control the model was I developed this curriculum where in 6 months, a karate school could have developed a basic entry-level MMA fighter.
Yeah.
So it taught these karate guys some basic jiu-jitsu, basic submissions, reversals, just wrestling, some real basic stuff, right? Had a curriculum so they could advance them and like sell that curriculum, right?
Yeah.
I even had DVDs. Me and Jay were on the DVDs showing the techniques to them. And so then I did seminars before the fights where these karate people from all over would come in and learn this new complete combat program to then sell to their school, right?
Yeah.
And the benefit was I made money on selling the curriculum, the program. This is like 2002, 3. And then I would also sell on them, hey, you can host your own High Octane Fighting Championship. You pay me, I bring my ring, I bring the sound equipment, the lighting, everything, and I've organized the fights. You just got to put fighters on the card. I even taught them how to market the fight to where your fight team has a name and a color coordinated with it. You sell it in your area. Because I knew that they could get people to come to the event in their area. I just needed to bring them the event. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
And then I could make money on the fights and on the program I was selling, and I had more fighters.
Yeah.
So, man, I was built. It was great for about 2 years. It was great. And then the problem that I didn't anticipate, this is before I was a lawyer, is I had nobody had signed anything non-compete with me. I hadn't copyrighted anything or had anything trademarked as proprietary.
Yeah.
And so some of these guys, especially in Memphis, I'll tell you after who they were, had the idea that we don't really need him. If we just get our own cage, what do I need him for? You know, it's a bigger market. so they. I used to have big shows here, and they started doing them down there.
I've come up through all that that whole deal. I'm sure I will know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's a learning experience,
right.
But
isn't it funny how you'll look back on stuff like that and you'll wish it's kind of like that? It's kind of like what I was talking about with when those the reps from WWE reached out to me for Tough Enough, dude. If I had the knowledge and just enough just to look back and had it looked over by somebody smarter than me and stuff like that, like what I can do, dude, I could I said, I probably could have gone and done that opportunity, no problem.
I think I was 25.
Okay.
I was like 25, 26.
Yeah.
But I've always been an entrepreneur. I'd already had my own martial arts school and a few other businesses I was playing with back and forth. And so I knew it was a business model there. But anyway, hindsight's 20/20. But my point, telling you that whole story was, back then the whole point of that whole story was this. There was a bunch of karate schools, no jiu-jitsu schools.
Yeah.
Now there's less karate schools, more jiu-jitsu schools everywhere.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Mixed. I think it shifted. I think in the 70s and 80s, first of all, it didn't exist, but we didn't have the UFC to see what works and doesn't work.
Right.
And so I think there's some people that now really doubt traditional martial arts effectiveness.
Yeah.
I think also it's very natural for a kid to wrestle.
Yeah.
So the jiu-jitsu comes pretty natural to a kid to roll around with. And so I think, and then it's also more macho now to do jiu-jitsu. It's one of those kind of like the hunting and the fishing and the lifting weights. It's macho, whereas karate is not cool anymore.
Right.
So there's just been a cultural shift in it. Traditional, and not to sidebar, but traditional martial arts can be effective.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is you got to train. Some of those techniques are very high coordination level.
Right.
And so to make them effective in even MMA, you got to train a long time with them. Whereas you can learn, how to armbar somebody from a guard in a class, and it's immediately effective.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's been a shift in the culture on what's cool and not cool.
Does that bother you being more like one of the legit dudes? Because I know you're legit, dude. I've seen some of your spinning kicks.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I've seen your techniques. Yeah, and I'm not I swear I'm not just like glazing with you. I know like for a fact you are like one of the most legitimate like Taekwondo striking guys around this area.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. But I'll tell you why I asked that. But does it irritate you that you feel like it's being watered down now?
It used to.
Okay.
Nowadays, I feel like it's more on me to make sure that I'm teaching good martial arts.
Okay.
And I do feel like sometimes I have to explain why I may still teach a form to somebody, when my personal goal in my schools is to have somebody that could actually defend themselves by the time they get to black belt.
Right.
So we always tell them it's a little longer learning curve.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have more of a duty and obligation to explain myself, I guess. Whereas if they come to jiu-jitsu, they don't ask you why you're teaching them how to dismount somebody, or sweep them from the guard.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that would be valid.
Yeah, it bothers me a little in jiu-jitsu now because unfortunately, like what you were just saying about karate and the taekwondo stuff like that, it almost seems like it's almost trending that way a little bit in jiu-jitsu now. There's so many people doing it, and it's much more attainable now than it was like when we were talking about like back in the early days.
Hard to get.
Yeah, we knew like one black belt, or it was even like
hell, you're being taught by purple belts.
Yeah, for sure.
I was teaching at blue belt on stuff.
100%. But it's like now, dude, I see so many people that just get handed black belts in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, even brown belts, and I'm like, dude, I had to like murder myself.
So now that does bother me.
Yes.
And one thing that bothered me is, so the curve was it's the exact same curve you're talking about, but for me it was like the 90s into early 2000s.
Yeah.
When I competed for world champion multiple times at an international level. I've even fought in North Korea. Like I've been to North Korea, represented the U.S. and fought in North Korea, fought in Beijing, China.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it was real. Like it wasn't, and then, so what frustrates me is so many karate, taekwondo schools have popped up where they are McDojos, and people paid it. And here's the other thing, because I don't want to be part of the problem either. When people test for a black belt with me,
right,
they have to go through a pretty, not the color belt levels, but when you're going to test for black belt, it's a buck stops there.
Yeah.
Like I will fail them at black belt.
Right.
They don't automatically get it. There's a fitness test they have to pass.
Yeah, that's
then
good.
They get whipped. There's like this, they fight 3 or 4 people at the same time.
Right.
And it's not about whipping them. It's about, can they control themselves while they're doing this? Full contact. Anyway, to me, it's hard. I have a lot of pride in who I give a black belt to.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll see another school with a guy that couldn't kick his way out of a paper sack, you know?
Yeah.
Or somebody that got something and now they're super fat and
Right.
can't do anything. And that does frustrate me because then it makes me look like mine's not legit.
No, yeah, no, 100%. And part of I guess my point is like in jiu-jitsu now, I almost feel like my black belt doesn't mean as much anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm obviously like still proud of it. Like, but like the belt really doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It's just like, how am I going to go in here and prove that I am that guy in the gym? You know, not be like super like ego rolling and stuff like that, but like make sure like my technique is there, this and that. Like, dude, it would hurt my feelings and bother me so bad if I went and rolled somewhere and they're like, that guy's not a black belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's like kind of the ground we're trending towards. You know what I mean? And so anyway, that's why I asked you that. And I think I think it's important for us to like keep traditional martial arts in the game and stuff like that, and just like keep our like reputations there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, so one thing, and I've had to learn this running a business, and you may have had experience with this too, but you know, only maybe 5-6%, if that, of your student base are going to be like killers or competitive.
Right.
The vast majority, kind of like going to the gym. You know, 90-something% of the people that go to the gym, for you and me, aren't even really working out.
Right.
Like we watch them and they're like, that's not even a workout, right?
Yeah.
And then you got that small percentage. So it's hard to run a business model where it's just on that small percentage, unless you're in a huge market. So I think it's part of why Dave did so well. He was in a big market, so the killers all went to Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, right? My point, though, is at the same time that I don't want to water down a black belt, I also don't want to hold the, 50-year-old housewife that's coming to train with me, raising, these kids, and is just revigorated, and she's not going to do what its 20-year-old's going to do,
Yeah, for sure.
But for her, she might be at a black belt level, So you got to kind of balance that out as you go, especially if you're running a business.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
But I don't disagree with you.
Right.
The problem even with that argument is, so here's what I was going to say as you were talking, because you got to remember this too when you're teaching people. I just told my black belts this. I was going off at a testing. We had a taekwondo testing, and I had a couple of students that were a little out of shape, and I was saying, look, I forget what got me on the topic, but I started ranting like now. But I was basically saying, look, you're the example. Right. I said, somebody in here right now is looking at you as the example. And I'm talking to these other black belts, right? And I'm like, so if you can't do 100 push-ups right now, and then I had a parent kind of chuckle about it. And I said, I can do 100 push-ups right now, and I did.
Yeah.
I said, and the reason that I'm able to do that, and that I do work so hard in the gym, I still train in taekwondo, I still do all these things I do all the time, is because I realize of my whole school, for all these years I've been doing it, I'm the example.
Right.
I'm supposed to be the pinnacle. So I can't say because I've been injured or I'm 47 or I bad genetics, all these excuses people make, it's all bullshit,
Yeah, right.
I'm the example. And so when I literally said, so when I don't feel like it, I go do that. I do the workout or whatever it is, because I know that little Elijah sitting over here thinks I'm the master.
Yeah.
So my point is, I can't control what other people do,
right?
But I control what I look like,
yeah.
And I can control if I know what I'm doing,
right?
So you look the part. I know you're legit too. I've seen your fights and stuff.
Man.
So, even just getting in there is part of the test,
right?
But I think everybody needs to remember that we set examples for somebody. There is someone that's looking at you, and you can guide them to a better version of themselves,
Yeah, for sure.
And so if nothing else, if you're lazy, use that as motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So anyway, as an instructor, that was the only thing I would tell you is always remember that.
Yeah, right.
Can't control the other people.
Yeah. Well, and that's like I said, that's part of the reason why I enjoy being a student of the game. So you know what I mean? That's less I have to worry.
Well, if you let me know where you're teaching, whatever, I can pay you to come teach me. I would love to train and just learn.
Yeah, for sure.
So we might even set something like that up. You're a black belt, you can come train me.
Man. We can do it.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Like I said, I mean, I'm good with teaching whatever. But I will say this about my game, and it's not like exposing anything. As far as jiu-jitsu, I'm the type of black belt, like I have like 3 moves I'm really good at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am not 100% at all technique, stuff like that. The black belts that I trained under, it was like one black belt that I always like go back to. That man made me do like 50 Kimuras a side, like right side, left side. I was exhausted before the training even really started because I was doing 100 Kimuras before class, and I always stuck to that submission.
That was sort of that old school training too.
Yes, 100%, and that's what I built my game around. A lot of like 2-on-1 grip, Kimura trap, that kind of stuff. Like I don't even really use it to submit people. It's a submission. I don't even use it to like submit people anymore. I use it to like gain positions, sweeps, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, like anything like that, like I love teaching. Like just like my side of the game. Like, hey, if this like one little tidbit that I can show you will help you with your game, then I'll teach it all day long. We can sit here for freaking 5 hours and go over it. So, but yeah, like. But I've been teaching before, and they're like, "Hey, do an hour and a half long class on X guard." I'm like, "Bro, I don't use X guard."
Yeah.
Like I'm a wrestling style black belt that if I get your arm, I'm gonna rip it off.
Yeah. So it's just sidebar. I have the same experience because I'm a 7th degree in Taekwondo.
Right.
And I teach Thursday nights. Whoever shows up, advanced students. It's usually sparring because I love sparring. I personally love it, and I'm best at kicking. Yeah. That's what I'm best at is kicking. Right. So when they come do the sparring class, the organization we're in it's like a hybrid group. Like even the forms have MMA techniques in them. It's sort of a mixed system. Anyway. But they'll be it's all this new stuff from our organization, which is great. And a lot of my junior instructors go learn all that stuff. Yeah. I don't know all that stuff. Right. You know what I do? Kick. Yeah. So when they come train with me, they're like, what are we doing? Are we kicking?
Yeah, we're kicking. Yeah, right.
So I get it. That's kind of what my area is and what I enjoy. So
you completely done with anything combat?
So I competed in the World Championships last July. Okay. All as a whim. What happened is I'm the coach for the U.S. team. The team was there doing the stuff. I'm coaching them. And this organization started this new sparring division called team sparring. Okay. And what it is, it's 3 dudes get together, and it's a 3-minute round, a continuous sparring round, where every time somebody scores a point, they say breaks call. It's full contact, but it's point sparring. If you score a point, they break and you swap. Somebody else jumps in. Yeah. So there's a little strategy in that if somebody comes in and out, who you put in against this person, you got to do it real quick though because it's in and out. So you got to coach, and anyway, it's real fast. And I haven't competed in like 5 years in Taekwondo. Well, part of that is because people in my age group just don't compete anymore. Right. You know, and I was cool competing with the young guys. Like I just wanted to spar. Yeah. So long story short, what I did is there's this other dude, Chief Master Ken Reynolds, who's an 8th degree, and he's one of the top 3 best martial artists I've ever seen in my whole life. He's 57. Yeah. Okay. Don't look at either. He's a beautiful man. But anyway, super nice guy, man. Most humble dude you would ever meet. You would never know he's a killer, right? So I go to him, and he's the head coach on this team I'm on. And I'm like, hey, man, why don't we put a team of masters together, like old dudes, and get in there and compete against these young bucks? Because the teams were all like the 20-something world champions, the active guys. Right. So he agreed to do it, shockingly. And this guy's like an idol to me, so I'm like, oh, this is a dream. So then I had to find a third, and we couldn't find one. Like all the old guys were like, no, my knee hurts. Right. So we ended up a guy from my school, John Adams, who didn't win world champion a couple years ago. He's getting a little weight, and he's lose it. But anyway, he's a 5th degree, which is a master apprentice. And I was like, that'll count. He's 40-something. So the 3 of us competed. Yeah. And what was funny is we showed up, and all the competitors there thought we were the judges. They didn't know we were competing. And so we start putting our gear on, and then they start smack talking, which was even better. Right, yeah. And long story short, man, we were smoking these boys. I got some video of it. It was the most fun I've had in a long time. Yeah. We ended up losing by 1 point in the last match for first place because John got hurt, and they made up a rule on the spot saying, well, if he gets hurt, he forfeits a point. And we literally lost by naturally. But I was proud that we were even shown. So me and Master Reynolds have talked about doing that again in July. It's just so much fun, you know? Right. But no, as far as like, now I'll tell you this, if you get contact that there's, enough money on the line, I would kickbox again. Yeah, for sure. But like MMA stuff, I'm not risking on. I'm not going to do all that. Yeah. I mean, there's a price that I would do it at. Yeah, for sure. But no, man, I feel like I told my wife, you talking about Muay Thai, I've been getting all these ads on TikTok to go train in Thailand. Yeah. I think it'd be awesome.
Oh, for
I'd
sure.
love to go. It's not expensive.
Right.
It's expensive to get there.
Yeah.
But I thought I thought about
an hour flight. It's crazy.
Yeah, I thought about going there for a couple weeks just to train in Thailand.
Oh man,
you know?
like even just getting in there with any of those guys, any of those Thai guys, man. I've never been, but I primarily trained under a Danish guy, Brian Talerick from Denmark. Savage, golly, savage. But yeah, dude, going over to Thailand, that'd be so freaking legit. Those guys, they live, breathe it. Like you either work sweatshop shit or you freaking
and I mean they're phenomenal, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And there's apparently a whole market for it now. They got this whole strip that's all like Thai boxing gyms and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just thought it'd be fun to go try it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you? Compete?
Man.
I know you still grapple, right? You still doing some grappling?
Yeah. So I haven't, like we discussed in the gym, like I had knee surgery. I blew my freaking ACL out, my meniscus. So that's been like a year recovery. I was actually training and getting ready to do another MMA fight. I wanted to do another MMA fight, call it quits, at no matter win or lose, whatever the case be.
So you say.
Yeah, so I say, right? I think we're all like that. It's so funny, dude. You see all these, high level fighters, big fighters, stuff like that. They lay the gloves down, retire, and then it's
hard,
like, I know, man, you can't get away from it. If you are a competitor, dude, it never. That's what I'm having to realize. Like, it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
No,
it's not, and you'll have. It's like I did. When I got to where the taekwondo wasn't realistic to compete in anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm too old for the MMA and stuff. I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
You got to have that.
You got to find something. Yeah, something.
And I don't want to do golf.
Right.
So yeah.
Do you feel competitive in golf? Like,
no, the problem is if I did it, I would then get competitive in it.
Right. I think, dude, that game makes me so angry. I will have I've never played a more inconsistent sport in my life, and I'm not saying I'm good by any means, but I'll go out there and I'll have a decent day. I'll be able to keep up with the guys, even like being half lit out there, and I'll have a decent day. Then, dude, I'll go out there the next day and I will shank every freaking shot. I'm just like, man, like, how is this enjoyable? I want to break every club I have.
Yeah. So I've played twice my whole life in charity tournaments,
right?
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't even hit the ball. Matter of fact, it was so bad. One of them I played in, I got put on this other team of 3 guys. They needed a 4th, and I was so bad. They were good. We ended up winning the second flight trophy. Yeah. And I don't even know how that.
Just happy to be there.
Yeah, so I got a trophy for golf, and I don't even think I hit the ball. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But
no, man. I would like to do another MMA fight, like you said, like a kickboxing fight, something like that. My biggest time right now is just like finding, like, for me, I don't know why it is this way for me at jiu-jitsu. If there was a tournament I could sign up for right now and go do it right now, I go dive in it. But it's something with like striking and the whole MMA aspect. Like, I need to have like a quote unquote camp.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I need to get in there. I need to know that I can make it through 6 to 8 weeks of hard training, sparring, like taking the shots, all that kind of stuff, getting my legs conditioned back up. And having that, having knee surgery and whatnot, that sideline me. And so that also is like, it's like changed my mindset, because that's like my, I've had all the basic injuries you can think of: broken fingers, toes, concussions.
Yeah, same thing here.
Had my nose smashed, that kind of broken my nose, all that kind of stuff. But that's the first significant injury that I've had to like sit back, recover from surgery, and so that's kind of played on my mentality a little bit.
It does change things. So I tore my hamstring off my bone.
Oh man.
2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
That's a good one.
I doing the splits, and I was doing a split, and I've done it my whole life, but my foot got stuck. Yeah. And as it got stuck, I leaned to move my foot around it, and it blew the hamstring off my leg. And it's the worst. Like you, I've had broke nose, jaw dislocated, this tooth's fake, like all that kind of stuff. But that was by far. And I'll be honest, my ankle still swells from it now if I stand for a long time.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. Just like you saw the weight that I'm moving, it's stronger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
I think it's more in my head than anything. So you can definitely recuperate from those injuries. You just got to,
What is today? Today March 3rd?
What's that?
Is today March 3rd?
Today is the 3rd,
Yeah. So I had knee surgery a year ago today.
Dang.
A year ago today, I was like getting wheeled out, bro. The worst pain. I've never had anything make me feel like such a bitch. Like,
I was the same way.
Yeah, dude. I have never had something make me feel so much like my manhood is gone.
Man, my wife was a godsend, because I don't know about you, but when I was laid up that first 24, 48 hours, I couldn't get up or anything.
Yeah.
And I was literally leaning over to pee in a cup.
Yeah.
And my wife, I mean, I was a little child, and I don't handle it well either.
Right.
And I don't want to take pain pills. I think I took one pain pill.
Oh,
and
dude,
they scare me so bad.
Yeah, I ate them like candy.
Okay.
Like the first 2 weeks, man. It was the only way I could sleep. And if you talk to anybody that's had that ACL meniscus repair, especially if there's like an extensive meniscus repair, that's what made mine so bad. They'll tell you like they're like, yeah, get ready to not sleep. Like this, like your knee surgery is a newborn baby. Like get ready to not sleep for about a month, month and a half or whatever, because it's just so uncomfortable. Every little movement, like, it just jolts you away. You can't get comfortable. You're stuck in a brace. Like, it's just,
Yeah, sleeping was terrible. We tried to elevate. You can't get it was, it was bad.
But anyway, like, no, I say all that to say, like, that injury right there kind of plays on my mind a little bit as far as competing goes again. But, like, I'm in it. Like, I feel 100% now, and if I can ever get my schedule to settle down a little bit, I can get in and actually get 6 to 8 weeks of good training in. Know that I can make 185 pounds, no problem, that kind of stuff. Then yeah, dude, I'm in it.
Nice.
So
cool. Well, I support you on it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
If you ever want to work on kicking, I'd love to work with you on some of that.
Hey, I love kicking.
But I'm serious about maybe getting you to train me some in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
we could do privates, and I can bring another dude to roll with me, and you can yell at me.
My last fight, my last MMA fight, I won it by head kick KO.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, I know you got great kicks. I saw you do one a few weeks ago. You had posted, or somebody posted, because this is kind of like post-surgery. You still had
it was like 8 months out.
Kicking.
I was proud of that, because that was the first time I'd really like gotten after like kicking. I was like, I don't know if I can do this or not, but yeah, no.
Well, so the interest again, I'm trying to tie us up in a second, because I know Josh is going to get pissed. You kind of like you because we're talking a long time, but we usually don't do more than an hour.
Yeah.
But with kicking, we teach 9 angles of attack on kicks.
Right.
And there are 9 basic strikes of 8 kicks that you can use in Taekwondo in various ways.
Right.
And what most MMA guys, or especially Muay Thai-based guys, don't get is the amount of power you can generate with your lead leg with some of these kicks.
Yeah.
If you learn how to set them up and how the coordination. So back in the day, I almost fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Okay.
I was supposed to compete in the World Combat League,
Yeah.
and that's before he was in the UFC. World Combat League was Chuck Norris. It went out of business.
Right.
But it was Chuck Norris's professional kickboxing league.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anybody that could hang with Wonderboy, and he and I kicked the same.
Yeah.
We were trained the same way. And so, anyway, I didn't fight him. But my point is, like, that style of kicking can be very effective in MMA.
Yeah.
And I beat all the Thai type guys I fought because they were all back leg kicking, and they'd use a teep kick and stuff. But you can read that so easy. They didn't understand how to set up the speed and power of the lead leg.
Right.
So I've always wanted to take a dude that was had a good base like you do and sort of show the other side of it with the striking.
Yeah.
And like even if we spar, you'll see it's just so different the way when you get that kicking, not just kicking prowess, but just sort of learning to read the angles.
Yeah, for sure.
It's no different than if you've never boxed and you're boxing with you don't see the punches coming.
Right.
So
I'm not gonna lie, because I've sparred some Taekwondo guys, some good karate guys, stuff like that. If I see you like half-ass like turning sideways, like I'm expecting that back. Like I guess what I'm saying is like I'm not expecting like lead leg work.
Yeah.
So that's probably where you get like you got the edge on those guys, because I'm expecting you to spin around and trying to kick my liver out of my ass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, the only thing is it can be weak against takedowns,
Right.
but you just got to balance it out.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, I love it. It's my favorite thing still to do.
Well, dude, for the longest time, Wonderboy Thompson, dude, nobody could touch him.
No, it's because they didn't know how to read the movement.
Yeah, right.
You know, he was so good at the in and out and the speed and that lead leg, and it's so quick and choppy, and people think you're going to grab it. And sometimes we want you to grab it, and I mean it's just a whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
A whole different game.
Yeah.
So, well, Brent, look, I appreciate you coming on the show with me, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to have you back on. I mean, you could talk for hours, I think.
Oh yeah,
about the same stuff.
Yeah. Just
and I wish you the best of luck in all that you're doing. Where can people find you if they're trying to follow you?
Man, just normal. What's crazy is I had to go like full name on my Facebook because like in the Ninja Warrior times, like because they just presented me as Brent Ruffin, dude. It was like insane. They're like, yeah, you're gonna have to like change all your like names and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, full name on Facebook, Redneck Ninja on like TikTok and Instagram, stuff like that. So. If you're interested at all in seeing what I'm up to, it's pretty boring. So
yeah, no, he's a great looking guy. He takes his shirt off too, and it's not like me where it's you can come cold plunge with me.
that is miserable.
Yeah,
more power to you.
I do it 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Michelle Allen, like you see there, if you want to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate, check her out. If you want some, like we've been talking about, traditional martial arts stuff, holler at us. Mason's Martial Arts. Open since '93, 2 schools, one in Covington and one in Millington. If you want books, records, signed memorabilia, comic books, go Jam Books and Records, located on the Square in Covington, open Monday through Saturday. And then if you do want to optimize your health, holistichealthhormones.com is Dr. Laura and Madeline, and they will get you on the road to optimizing your health. And then again, if you want help with social media marketing, branding, videos, commercials, stuff like that, visit masonitemarketing.com. Thanks again for watching us. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Check us out next time and keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.